Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today, the best daily sports betting show on the planet. And I have a great lineup. I organized it all by myself. Teddy was no help. We got Andy Lang joining us right off the bat, hopefully. And he's got a bet for us on the UFC card this Saturday night. Two names I can't pronounce, but so be it. Marcin Tybura against Sergey Spivak. Anyway, he's also got a bet for us in golf on another name that I can't pronounce. Ross Benjamin, easy name to pronounce, will be joining us after that. He's got a bet for you guys in NFLX. He's going to take apart the Bears and the Bills. He's also got a bet for us on the Guardians and the Twins. And Ross just mentioned in my ear that he used to be a lead singer in a classic rock band. So, guys, if you want to put up what song you'd like Ross to sing live on air, we'll get to that a little later. And Carmine Bianco, the man, will be joining us to talk soccer, both leagues, cup. Excited to hear about that. Teddy Covers, what's your big game breakdown?
Big game breakdown. We'll talk some NFL preseason action for tonight, breaking down the Texans and the Steelers, and, of course, in what bettors learned. We'll also talk about a little NFL preseason, a recap of what we saw last night and what we can expect to see this weekend when watching the NFL. By the way, I don't know these guys' names either, but I can read the last names. Tybura versus Spivak. That's easy. The golfer, yeah, that's a little bit tougher. But Christian, Biesenhout? It's worth a shot.
Biesen den Hot.
Sure.
Teddy, you had the New England game right. Your gut was saying yesterday, the Pats, but you couldn't get to the window.
It's okay.
I did.
Not thrilled. Good for you.
Guys, I want to mention that for a second. You got to listen to when Teddy gives out information. Teddy, some of the people in the comment section yesterday were talking about your football information is second to none. Listen to the intonation when Teddy speaks. Listen to how convincing he is, because I'm telling you, if you read between the lines, you're going to find a lot of bets. Ross, Boss 429 wants you to sing Money by Pink Floyd. That was the first one put in. So money it will be. Andy Lang. Do we have Andy Lang? Oh, Andy, in the golf, at the golf course already?
No. We had a client who had an emergency, so I'm on the road now. So decide to pull over, find some nature, and let's knock this out. Let's give out some winners.
Andy, are you a pee in nature kind of guy? I am 100%. It's one of the joys of my life.
100%. You know how much water we would save if men could just pee outside?
Dude, I pee outside my house. I have
four
washrooms, and I go outside for nature pees. I got issues. Let's get into it.
I don't think that's an issue. I think it's good for the environment.
So do I, dude.
For what it's worth, Isaac will walk past the bathroom to go outside to take a leak.
And women don't get it.
This is a revolution. It starts today.
Women don't get it, Teddy. There is very few things more satisfying than a man peeing outside. Okay. Tybura versus Spivak. I hope I said that right. Likely not. How are we betting this fight?
Yeah, you got it right. Tybura versus Spivak. I'm really surprised we're getting the under at such a great price here. I'll take the under 3.5, and it really has to do with Spivak. Spivak's last 5 fights haven't even seen the third round, and he's got a couple of issues. One is he's a fantastic wrestler. His takedowns have gotten awesome, and his ground game is good. So he can submit guys, and he does it early in the first or early in the second. His problem is he doesn't have any cardio. And we saw in his last fight against Cyril Gahn, he didn't get the takedown and the submission in the first round. He completely gassed out. Cyril Gahn beat him in the second round. I think this is pretty pretty easy. Spivak's going to win early in the first and the second, but if he cannot get Tabora down and he cannot get the submission on the feet, he just gasses out, and it's going to be a Tabora win in the second or the third. I don't see how this makes the third round, so I'll happily take under 3.5 at a minus 125 that I think is a fantastic price.
So Laura's just talked about kind of reading between the lines and what I say, and I don't even know I'm doing it. You know, I just talk about games and to try to give out information. I don't recognize I do it. When I was just listening to you, it sounded to me, reading between the lines, that you think that Tyburn might be Tabora, I should say, might be a live underdog. Am I reading too much into what you were saying? Or, I mean, obviously he opened basically at a pick-em price at a lot of books, and now you're catching, plus 130, plus 140 with him. Do you think Tyburn is a live underdog in this one, or is it clearly unders the bet and don't even worry about the side?
Under is the bet. I don't care who wins, but I will tell you, if you're betting an outright winner, it's got to be Tabora. It has to be. He's got pretty decent takedown defense. I know Spivak is probably going to be a little bit bigger, but there's no way you could lay this minus money on Spivak, at least in my opinion. So if Tabora just survives the first round, I think he's a clear-cut winner. Live betting, if this gets out of the first round, it's Tabora all day. The value is absolutely on Tabora, but the only way I'm going to bet on this fight is the under.
Andy Lang joining us, everyone. One of the best handicappers we got at WagerTalk.com. So Andy, Andrew Wojcicki, one of our most favorite viewers, listeners, whatever. Teddy always gets mad at me. They don't view, they listen. He wants to know if Taylor Fritz is a good bet today in tennis, and Anna Kalinskiya. You handicap the tennis for this weekend?
There have been a lot of upsets this week in tennis. So you could look at it one of two ways. Maybe it's a week of upsets, or maybe the favorites are going to win out this week. I have not made one tennis play this week. It's been a really good year of tennis. I haven't felt the need to force anything, so I will be staying away. No opinion on that play.
Yeah, and I don't have an opinion either, Waj. We were talking about it yesterday, Teddy. One sec. We were talking about it yesterday or 2 days ago when Teddy asked me, you know a bunch of the owners of the CFL teams. Does it help you in betting? Dude, I know almost every tennis player. I even had dinner with the Asian judge who judges the main event, the finals at Wimbledon. I am so deep into tennis connections, it's not funny. And I never use them. Maybe I should. I got nothing for you, Waj. What's up, Teddy?
Oh, I was just talking about the fact that Andy's on the road right now. We got the beautiful green grass behind him. He's not in front of his computer with all of his notes, which makes it, at least when I'm doing shows on the road as opposed to in front of my computer. For the computer, you got I can look this guy up. I can remember, what's this match? What are my notes? So it's harder to come up with secondary opinions sometimes when you're on the highway. Much easier to do when you're at your desk.
Not if you're Andy frickin' Lang. Like you are understating the genius of Andy Lang. Christian Bezel. How you betting this guy? Golfer. It's the Wyndham Championship.
Don't feel bad about not being able to pronounce his name right.
I thought I nailed
announcers.
I thought I nailed it.
Close. Announcers struggle with this guy's name. I've been told it's Bezaden Hout. So we'll go with Bezaden Hout. We're going to take his over 67.5 in round one. I played this at minus 145. I believe it's creeping up to minus 160. Here's the thing. I've been watching this tournament all morning. They got completely rained out yesterday. Like they couldn't play one hole yesterday. So the course is soaking wet. It's also really hot and really humid. And so far, the morning guys are struggling a little bit with distance control. And here's the thing. Christian Bezaden Hout tees off later this afternoon where more rain is expected. I expect more rain when he's playing. And the fact is, this guy has not been very good recently. He did not have a good first round at the Open Championship, did not have a good first round at the Olympics. He was been underrated in the first half of the season. He's starting to tail off. The conditions are brutally hot, brutally out there, and his game's struggling a little bit, and I believe he's going to end up having to play in some rain later this afternoon. 67.5 means he would have to shoot 3 under or lower. I don't see it happening in tough conditions. Take the over.
So let's call him Christian Gesundheit, because clearly he's what you say after you sneeze. To me, that's the one that makes the most sense there. And that solves the problem of what do we call this guy. But, Andy, when you're talking about rainy conditions later in the day, is there a chance that the second half of this gets rained out and then he ends up playing tomorrow morning and the conditions are different than what we expect? Or is it going to go regardless this afternoon?
The only way that they can stop this round is if there's thunder. They are so far behind. Next week is the playoffs of the PGA Tour, so they cannot extend this tournament past Sunday. They have to get this thing over on Sunday. And so they got no holes in. They're going to try and get as many holes in today, and then they're going to try and play 36 holes on Saturday and Sunday. So the only way that this thing gets rained out later today is if there's thunder. I do not see thunder, lightning in the area. But if it rains, these poor guys in the afternoon are just going to get just a little bit of bad luck. If they have to play in the rain in the morning, guys don't. But regardless, it's going to make his round tougher.
Andy, I'm playing in the rain today. Well, the rain has stopped, but the course will not let me use a cart. I have to walk a golf course later today. Yuck! Anyway, what do you got to promote?
Honestly, the buy 2 months, get 1 month special is still a fantastic deal, especially for myself and our plays. We have a 5% UFC play that is going on tomorrow. We have 3 lacrosse plays that go off tonight, and we just crossed plus 100 units for 2024. We're at plus 100.8 units for 2024. So we're super excited about that. All sports are running great. But if you're looking for something short term, grab that 5% play for the UFC. We've hit our last 5 UFC plays, so we're running red hot in there. If you're looking for something a little bit long term, it's a no brainer. Get the buy 2 months, get the rest of August free. That's wt.buzz/AL, wagertalk.com.
Yeah, and guys, I would use that promo on Andy for sure. Just an absolutely outstanding bettor and a lot of very fun bets. Dan, Ross just posted something in Slack, some Facebook video. I don't do Facebook anymore. It's been 5 years since I've logged on. But I want you to take a look, and then maybe we could put it up on the show. Teddy covers, what did bettors learn?
Well, we had 2 NFL preseason games last night, and they were what we thought they were. 2 of the 4 teams failed to reach the end zone. One game was a 7-0 thrill fest going into the 4th. The other game was completely scoreless after halftime. So not exactly compelling football. I mean, Carolina, the passing game last night, 35 dropbacks, 5 of them were sacks. They had 18 completions for 89 net yards.
Wow.
3 points, no turnovers, all punts, 7 first downs that included a 4th down conversion. Bad offense. And of course, it's rookie quarterbacks, not elite ones. New offense, new coordinators, new coaching staff. That's why we have preseason games. So teams like Carolina don't look quite that bad on opening day. Pat's defense looked solid last night, better than you expect for a team lined at over under 4.5 wins. But of course, New England, what they want to do last night, emphasis on fundamentals, running the football. Oh, they didn't average 4 yards per carry doing that in that under. The Lions against the Giants. Well, Detroit had 37 dropbacks. In those 37 dropbacks, 4 sacks, 18 completions for 110 net yards. They emphasized running the football. Oops, they didn't average 4 yards per carry either. Now, Detroit likely to be better than Carolina in September, but not last night they weren't. There are no starters for the Lions. Lots of things for them to, quote-unquote, clean up. Under in those 2 ball games. And that's what a good handful of these week 1 preseason games are going to look like. Guys who you won't see in the regular season, guys who are going to get cut next week, teams trying to learn new offenses, teams trying to learn new defenses, players making mistakes. Our job is to figure out who's showing up and who isn't, and to make money from this stuff, not to criticize how boring it is. I love a boring game if I play the under. We may have an under or 2 before all said and done this week. And we'll talk a little bit more NFL preseason action when it comes to big game breakdown in just a few minutes. We'll break down the Texans and Steelers tonight. Lawrence?
Guys, if you like what you're hearing, you know what I need. please hit that like button for us. It's greatly appreciated. We still are stuck on 164,000 subscribers. So please, if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Subscribe to our channel, please. Thank you, everybody. Lots of love to everyone in the chat room. Ross Benjamin, we can't put that Facebook video up, but I told it's you being a badass. So that must have been what, 1923?
Actually, 2021, December 2021. It's too bad you can't get it up. It's, just proving the fact that I was a lead singer of, actually specifically, a Leonard Skinner tribute band. So.
Oh my God. Okay, so one of my favorite songs.
And that's a badass band. Not some of the bands or the song you were making fun of me with. Please, come on, man. I'm not that old. Prez, give me a break.
Dude, that song I was making fun of you was written by Louis Jordan, who has more number one hits from 1900 to 1950 than any other musician of all time. His play is called Five Guys Named Mo. And that's one of the best musicals you'll ever see in your life. In your life.
I know the song Five Guys Named Mo because Joe Jackson did a cover of it that's really good back in the 1980s. But who did you say had more top 10 hits than anybody ever? Some guy that nobody's ever heard of?
From 1900 to
Michael Jordan's brother.
1900 to 1950, Louis Jordan.
Michael's brother, Teddy.
We get to the station at 8:45. A booby dooby 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 doo a doo doo choo 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 chaboogie.
Who's the producer today?
He also sings Saturday Night Fish Fry and Caledonia. Caledonia. Do 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 do. Okay, Russ.
Who's the producer today?
You have a heart out today. Stop.
Yes, Teddy, I'll make my heart out. Don't you worry. Ross, you just relax, dude. Brush your hair back. Strand 62, quadrant 5, section 4 is out of place. Ross,
I'm going
what was
to
your favorite Leonard? What was your favorite Leonard Skinner song?
Favorite Leonard Skinner song. I like some of the deep cuts, like Whiskey Rock and Roller and
great song.
I Need Ya, and stuff that people aren't really familiar with. Instead of the Sweet Home Alabamas, the Freebirds, and On the Hunt is another one.
Simple Man is one of the greatest songs ever.
Like one of the toughest songs to sing too. By the way, I've heard.
I can do it. It's been a simple kind of man.
All right, let's get back to the matter at hand. Anyway, whoever the producer was, is it Dan that's the producer? Is it Dan as the producer today? Just let him watch that after, if you could, because just to shut his mouth up a little bit, which is a hard thing to do. Anyway, Bears and Bills, that's what we're talking first. And, Chicago playing their second preseason game of the year. Last week, the Hall of Fame game, as we all know by now, was postponed with about 3 minutes to go. I should say play was stopped at that time. And despite that, it's still a little over 18 minutes to play in the game. The Chicago Bears backups did a nice job offensively, scoring 21 points and racking up 278 yards of offense against the Houston Texans. And, tonight it's going to be, tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be Caleb Williams getting a start. First NFL appearance anyway, not official start because that won't come until the regular season. And I would think that most of the starters, if not all of the starters offensively, are going to go along with him for at least a quarter and a half. I do know that Sean McDermott announced yesterday Josh Allen will play. The starters will play for about a quarter. And going back to that Chicago game, their backup quarterback, which is always something you should look at when handicapping the preseason, Brett Ripien had a terrific game. He looked fabulous. 11 out of 15 for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns. And He'll be playing against some backups with the Bills. Bills defense, by the way, a new defensive coordinator, and some pieces that they're missing from last year's squad on the back end, which is concerning if you're a Bills fan. Buffalo, by the way, under Sean McDermott, the last 2 preseasons have played 5-1 to the over with an average of 43.2 points per game. The Bears under current head coach Matt Eberflus they played 3-0 to the over last year, total of 40, or a combined total of 42 points scored per game. And again, I put Teddy, when I look at the preseason, I put emphasis on the head coaches because their philosophy during the preseason usually aligns with the results. And that's what I'm seeing here. And I'm going to go over the total. Now, this was 36.5. It escalated to 39, and a lot of that has to do with McDermott's announcement yesterday, and that total going up to 39. So I'm going to go with Chicago and Buffalo over 39 on Saturday afternoon, NFL preseason football.
So I have 2 follow-up questions for you on this one.
Uh-oh.
The first is, yeah. Well, they're both about Chicago's game plan because I guess you and I are seeing different stuff. Chicago's injuries on the offensive line. Are you confident that the Bears are going to be playing their starters for extended stretches in this game? Because I've read different information and that a lot of question marks about Chicago actually leaving their starters in the field for more than a series because of those offensive line injuries. And the second question is, when you talked about the success Brett Ripien had last week, are we going to see Ripien for extended stretches this week? I was under the impression we're going to see Austin Reed a lot in the second half of this ball game, and not Ripien. Ripien had all the success last week. We might see him for a series or 2, but not for extended stretches. So talk to me about your information on this ball game because you and I are getting different stuff.
Well, listen, I'm going to trust your information to start with, okay? And I'll go back to last week. The Bears' offensive line, the starters did not play at all on the offensive line, and they seemed to move the ball quite fine. Secondly, we're going to get a quarter of Caleb Williams. Now, we don't know what we're going to see from him, but again, he's their starting quarterback, and I would think that their offense will be okay with him at least for a quarter. And then in terms of Ripien, I got to believe he's going to at least see a quarter, okay, before they turn to Allen in the second half. So that's my feeling there. Justin Reed, what is it, Justin Reed? The third string quarterback. I'm sorry, Austin Reed. Yep. Yeah. 4th-string quarterback, rookie out of Western Kentucky, I believe, and which he played in a passing offense. So 2 out of 3 last week for 10 yards. Yeah. And again, let's remind everybody it's 39. If it was a regular season game, you'd be looking in the mid-40s here. And Chicago's backup skill position players seem to be much deeper than they have been in recent years. What was the other question? I'm sorry, Teddy.
That was it, 2.
Or
I
did
was
I
asking about
cover
Ripien and the Bears' offensive line.
Yeah. Well, there's your answer. So it's great questions, and it's a great observation, and then I wouldn't expect nothing less.
Ross Benjamin joining us. Keith Landry writes, who knew Harvey Keitel could not only act but sing Led Zeppelin as well? Going to California. That's my favorite Zeppelin song. Yeah, but you should see him handicap games. I mean, Harvey Keitel is the best handicapper around. Unbelievable.
Stop, because if anyone that watched Bad Lieutenant, you don't want that with Ross Benjamin. And if you've never seen Bad Lieutenant, it's an awful movie. But
awful. Yeah.
Harvey Keitel plays a pretty compulsive gambler who gets in a whole lot of trouble.
Yes.
What's that?
I can't believe you just made a movie reference. Dan, mark that date down. Teddy saw a movie, which in and of itself is
but it's from like the 80s or
then
the 90s. It's an old movie. Yeah. The old movies I remember.
Okay, good.
Ross you don't want
Benjamin.
Harvey Keitel references for game.
Ross Benjamin, the show has gone a little bit off the rails. I don't know who it is to blame.
Keep singing.
Okay. Guardians and Twins, you like over 8. It's game 2 of a doubleheader. Tell us.
But by the way, if you want me to sing Led Zeppelin, I can't even come close to Robert Plant's range.
Nobody can.
Even if you put a clamp on my testicles, I can't get that high. Anyway,
Great vision.
all right,
Great image, everyone. Let's all take a moment and just imagine that for a second. Okay.
Yeah,
ahead,
man.
Ron.
Hey, look at anybody who knows anything about music when it gets to hitting that upper echelon in that range, like a Steven Tyler or Robert Plant, always makes that kind of reference. So don't take it literally, folks. Anyway, okay, we got Alex Cobb making his first start of the season for the Cleveland Guardians. He was on the injured list to begin the year. He did make 7 rehab starts in the minors. Just 2 of those came in AAA, only averaged a little over 3 innings pitched per start. So, again, he's probably going to be on a strict pitch count, being that he's coming off the IL and being that he didn't show that they didn't show they wanted to use him more than short stints while he was down in the minors. Last year, he made 16 road starts with San Francisco with a 5.70 ERA in those outings, 10 career starts against Minnesota, not a very good 4.86 ERA, 1.42 whip, and a concerning 12 home runs allowed in only 50 innings pitched. Now, I know a lot of the players with Minnesota now weren't with Minnesota during that time, but it's worth mentioning. Here's the thing. The Cleveland bullpen, Teddy, has been terrific for the better part of the year, but over their last 6 games, they've struggled a bit. 5.46 ERA during that time, and considering the fact that you're probably not going to get more than 4, maybe 5 innings out of Alex Cobb, that's also worth mentioning. The Cleveland Guardians also the last 7 games averaging a lofty 5.6 runs scored per game. The Minnesota Twins, 11-1-1 to the over in their last 13 at home when there's a total of 8.5 or less. Right now I'm getting a total of 8. At DraftKings, it's 8.5 everywhere else, folks. Don't be shy. If it's 8, you get an 8.5. Don't hesitate. I just got the better number at DraftKings. The Twins over their last 6, averaging 6.1 runs per game. They're going to be going with Louis Varland on the mound, and he's made 5 starts and 1 relief appearance with a terrible 6.58 ERA, and he's allowed 6 home runs in 26 innings pitched during those 6 outings, and that's not a good home run to innings pitch ratio. As a matter of fact, when the Twins have Varland as their starter in those 5 games, they're 0-5, and opponents are averaging 5.4 runs per game when that occurs. The Minnesota bullpen has been brutal since the All-Star break with a 6.60 ERA, a 1.47 whip. So I'm looking at a high-scoring game here in Game 2 of the doubleheader tonight that's slated to go at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time from Target Field in Minnesota. It's Cleveland, Minnesota, over 8.
So I want to ask you conceptually about doubleheaders, because I tend not to bet them because I never know who's going to play the second game. If I'm going to play a doubleheader game, I usually play the first. I shouldn't say usually. I always, or almost always, there's no always in betting, but I rarely play second game of doubleheaders, at least not as a client play. Sometimes I'll make a personal bet, but as a client play, because you never know who's going to get used in the first game. You never know what bullpen arms are going to get used in the first game. What's your reaction or what's your approach to doubleheaders, and specifically the second game of these doubleheaders? That's something you get involved with a lot. Is that the exception rather than the rule? Talk to me about how you approach MLB 2 games in one day. And if it matters if they're like this one, a day-night doubleheader, or if they're just back-to-back games, is there any difference between the two? Is there any nuance there?
Well, here's the thing. It's an exception because usually I'll stay away from doubleheaders altogether. But in this specific situation, to me, looking at this total and the 2 starting pitchers and the struggles of the bullpen, I got to believe they believe that the odds makers are telling us that the top shelf players are going to be playing in a day game, and we're going to see some backups in a night game. And as a result, we're getting that number of 8. Now, it's 8.5 everywhere else, Teddy, except for the fact that DraftKings, and to me, the odds makers are telling me something there as well. And then you look at the fact that Minnesota has played to the over in 11 of their last 13 home games, with 1 being a push, and the average combined score in those games are 12.4 runs per game. This is why I made an exception to the rule. Both teams have been scoring of late. Both bullpens have struggled of late. And 2 starting pitchers, you don't know what we're going to get from Alex Cobb. And it doesn't look like he's going to go deep into this game based on his 7 rehab starts in the minors. And Louis Louis Varland has not shown that he's a top-notch Major League Baseball starting pitcher. Matter of fact, he's a poor one by early results. So I hope that answers your question, Teddy, but it is an exception to the rule.
Ross freaking Benjamin, everybody. It occurred to me, Ross, that we might be able to assemble a Wager Talk music band. We have Teddy's son, who is a savant on drums and learning the French horn. I don't know if we're going to get the French horn involved. I'm positive Joe Ranieri is a bass player. I'm a lead singer, as everyone knows. You could do backup singing for me.
After what I just heard, oh my goodness, Prez, you're killing me today.
And well, Dan has long hair, so clearly he plays guitar. So we got a guitarist, a bass player, a lead singer, a backup singer, a drummer. Who
Need a
plays
keyboard
the
player.
keys? Who plays?
Yeah.
Teddy, who plays the keys?
So, I mean, at this stage, Isaac can play keyboard for you. He can play bass for you. He can probably play guitar for you, and he can certainly play drums for you. So wherever you need him, just fill him in. He's spent a lot of time in his room working on music this summer.
Good for him.
You know
man.
what, dude?
Good for
Yeah, I'm so proud of Isaac. Teddy's got a kick-ass kid, Ross. I mean,
Yeah,
you would never think that his blood could lead to such talent, but it's true. Kick-ass kid. Ross Benjamin, what do you got to promote? Yeah, go ahead.
And Teddy's a hell of a role model, and I mean that sincerely. NFL preseason, by the way, folks, 25-16 since 2021. It's good for 61%. I got 2 preseason games up for sale right now. Friday evening action. You can get them right now at wt.buzz/RB, my personal page. By the way, 2024 NFL preseason package, only $99, which amounts to about $7 a game, because I usually in the 12 to 14 pick range when it comes to the NFL preseason. College football in the NFL last year finished number 2 in money earned, because I was at Sports Memo this year, but when you combine that with the guys at Wager Talk, I would have finished second at Wager Talk in money earned, and there's some great handicappers at Wager Talk. I'm speaking to 2 of them right now. The $777, folks, for NFL college football combined. I finished college football 62-42 from September to 9th on. So good, very solid NFL season. Killed it during the bowl season. Football's here, guys, and I'm excited, and the people out there should be excited as well. And there you have it. You can get all my subscription plans and my daily single game or multi-game packages just by going to my personal URL, which is wt.buzz/RB.
Ross Benjamin, everyone. And let's not forget Rob Vino's son, who's not only a drummer, but a drummer in a band that made it. Teddy Covers, it's time for your big game breakdown.
Yeah, don't forget Grayscale. Exactly.
Yeah.
Rob Vino's son is the biggest star of anyone, when it comes to the offspring of the Wager Talk handicappers. Let's talk Texans and Steelers. Friday night NFL preseason football. And this is not a client play. I went back and forth and back, and Houston's just a little bit too bet on. Mills, Davis Mills, Case Keenum, Tim Boyle, that's a good quarterback rotation in preseason. And Stroud and the starters could see a cup of coffee here as well. So, and then, of course, the team that already got the rust out last week. So it's not a client play. It's just an opinion. But I think this point spread is wrong. The Steelers are playing starters too. The Steelers have a good quarterback rotation too, even without Russell Wilson. All right. And we didn't want Russell Wilson in this game. If you like Pittsburgh, he's only had 1 full practice with the team. He's been hurt. Justin Fields right now looks like the starter, and he's got something to prove. And Justin Fields can make plays with his legs. We love that from quarterbacks in August. Behind Fields, Kyle Allen, 704 career passing attempts since 2018, 26 touchdowns. He's a veteran. And John Rice Plumlee, for rookie, the guy was in college for 90 years, it felt like. He's ready versus a third-string defense, not a QB who I would be reluctant to put my money on. And then we look at the head coach, Mike Tomlin, and his track record. Week 1 of the preseason, last 6 years, last 7 years, there was no preseason in 2020. Last 6 tries, 6-0 straight up, 6-0 against the spread. His teams come to play. Since the COVID season, Mike Tomlin in the preseason, 9-1 straight up, 8-2 against the spread. This is a coach who gives a shit. And that's meaningful to this bettor. And it's important in this instance. I want to take the points, not the money line. We talk about key numbers in the preseason, +1, +2. Those winning numbers, they matter in August. So I'll take the +2.5, not the money line, and look for Pittsburgh to keep this one close. There's your big game breakdown, Friday Night NFL preseason, right here from WagerTalk Today. Lawrence, back to you, my friend.
Teddy covers. Let's keep it moving, brother. Carmine Bianco joining us. And Carm, before we get into your picks, you got a rare 5% play going today. It's tonight, right?
Tonight, Leagues Cup, a total in Leagues Cup, and we've been on a really good run with totals. Like I said, I pivoted over to totals because they were running really good, and since the start of the tournaments with the Euros, I put out that summer tournament package where you get all 3 tournaments for one price, plus 52.48 units gained, 71.9%, and that's over, let's see here, 65 plays. So it's a good sample size and a play I really like tonight. And let's see if we can cash a winner.
There we go. Good luck, Carm. I'm cheering for you. Let's get into your 2 leagues game. Sporting KC are playing Columbus. How do we bet this?
All right, I was on last Friday and gave out a couple of winners, and guys messaged me, so I really appreciate the feedback there. Let's see if we can do it again. You look at this one here, Prez, and Columbus had a bye into the knockout stages. We're in the knockout stages now. They just started a couple of days ago. They had a bye as the MLS Cup winners last season, and normally you get a little worried about a team that's been off for so long. Whether there's rust, whether they come out and they're firing on all cylinders. But they had a game scheduled, and they played against Aston Villa of the Premier League, who had a lot of their starters in. Columbus started their starters for the first 45 or so minutes, got out to a 3-0 lead. Cucho Hernandez, the guy just continues to score 3 goals in the first half. This team hasn't missed a beat, and I think they're the best team, one of the best teams in this tournament. Unfortunately for them, they'll get by tonight. They're stuck in the way this tournament is set up. They're stuck in quite possibly the worst quadrant of the bracket. They have both Inter Miami, who they would play next should they win tonight. And then after that, should they win, they're into the quarterfinals. They play Tigres, one of the best teams in Mexico, should Tigres progress as well, too. But putting that aside, this is a team right now that's playing extremely well at home. They've only lost 1 game. That was to their rivals in Ohio, Cincinnati. They lost 2-1. That's the only game they've lost at home all season long. 8 wins, 6 draws. And when they win, they score goals, and they win by margin. They're averaging 1.93 goals scored at home per game this season, which is the exact same amount that Sporting KC are allowing on the road, 1.93 goals per game. Sporting comes out of probably one of the easiest groups thus far, I think, in the group stages, with Chicago in there and Toluca. This is one where you got to lay a goal with Columbus, but they're going to win this game by margin. I think even if they start slow, as this game goes on, there's so much talent on this team that they're going to wear down Sporting KC and win this by at least a couple goals. These 2 teams played back in June, the 22nd, 4-0 Columbus at home. Not much has changed between these 2 teams since then, even with any summer additions and the transfer window. This is Columbus's game to lose tonight, and they won't. So Columbus -1, -135. That line's gonna steam at least to -1.25 goals.
So I have a follow-up, but I'm going to save it till after I ask you the next game that we're going to talk about, Portland versus St. Louis City. And this one, you can get both teams as an underdog if you look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. Obviously, the draw is a plus price as well. But St. Louis versus Portland. Here's my question for you, Carm. This is the CONCACAF Champions League. CONCACAF. What does that stand for?
CONCACAF, yeah. CONCACAF is, I could break down any letter, but CONCACAF is the federation that regulates all the North American teams. All the North American teams. So basically every team in Canada, USA, and in Mexico. I could break it down, but I'm pretty sure I would screw it up, Teddy. I just refer to it as CONCACAF. So they're the federation. It's just much like the Euro Federation or UEFA Federation takes care of all European teams, and the CONMEBOL takes care of all South American teams. This is the federation here in North America. Teddy,
all I'm going to say real quick, Carm, just real quick.
Yeah.
They got to work on their acronyms. All right, that's the worst acronym I've ever. CONCACAF. No, it's like give me 3 letters, maybe 4. UFA at 5 is about the max you can go.
Do you think you're me? Do you think you're me today, Teddy, talking utter nonsense while Carm's trying to give out actionable information? There's only room for one of us.
He does make sense. He does make sense because I get that question all the time. What is CONCACAF? So CONCACAF, and I just quickly, just so I wouldn't screw it up, is Confederation of North, Central America, and Caribbean Association Football. See, I would have got that last part wrong. The Caribbean Association Football. I would have got that completely wrong. So, but I knew the first parts. So. That is a good follow-up, Teddy. Just make it something easy, like North American Football Federation. We all know that. It's easy. With that said, now,
yes,
Portland and St. Louis, Prez. Yeah, Portland and St. Louis. So one thing this League's Cup has done, I know you need to get out. One thing this League's Cup has done is we've seen teams that normally in the MLS are in the bottom half of the standings and aren't performing well. Somehow turn it around, and they're playing well in this tournament. Toronto FC lose to Miami last night 4-3. I had the over in that one, and that one hit by halftime. Toronto lost a player in that game, Federico Bernardeschi. They probably would have won the game. Who knows? But a team like Toronto impressed in Miami. A team like San Jose, bottom of the standings in the East and West combined, and they win 5-0 last night against a Mexican team last night. Necaxa. I'm going to pronounce that one wrong anyways, but I'll throw it out there. And St. Louis fits that mold. They changed their manager. They're more of a possession-based, ball possession-based team now, and the results are starting to come in for this team. They're starting to play better. They're playing better at home. Portland can score goals, but when Portland leaves Providence Park and goes on the road, they seem to leave their form at home. They can't seem to score. They were in St. Louis a while back, June 8th. The game finished 0-0, scoreless draw. St. Louis held every single analytic number in post-analytic number in that game. This is why instead of taking the 3-way line that gets settled on 90 minutes plus any injury time, you can take the 2 advance line. That includes penalties. If this game's tied after 90 minutes and 4 or 5 minutes of injury time, it's going to go straight to penalty kicks. And I would rather have St. Louis in penalty kicks or that insurance should it go that far. You could take the plus 142 that the line is at right now. The problem is after 90 minutes, if it goes to penalty kicks, your bet's a loser. Take the 2 advance line. This is a client play, minus 120 on St. Louis.
Oh, yeah. Teddy trying to show the biceps behind the scenes. Carmine, I got to run. Feel free to promote, and Teddy, take us home. See you guys Monday. Love you all.
Carmine, what do you have going
Teddy,
for the clients this
me.
weekend over at WagerTalk.com?
Yep. 5% play up tonight. 3 other client plays loaded in League's Cup. I just gave you guys one of them. Let's go St. Louis on that one. And there's going to be a full slate of action this weekend that buy 2 months, get August free is a great deal. You can find that over at WagerTalk and on my page. And then just a quick one. If your NFL's right around the corner, number 1 last year in NFL, we're going to try and do it again this year. But also, we've combined it. The office has combined it with NHL, the full season. You can get both seasons all in one package. You'll find that on my page over at WagerTalk. That deal expires Sunday at midnight.
And let's not forget Carmine Bianco, 2023 NFL regular season, #1 at WagerTalk. Get better than 60% for the full regular season, delivered more than 76.5 units of profit for his clients. And his soccer totals continue to sizzle, 41-16 with a handful of pushes, more than 50 units of profit heading into the weekend. Carm, best of luck with all your bets, and thanks for joining us on WagerTalk today. That's going to wrap it for the week. We'll do it again next week. Same time, same channel. If you like this show, please give us a like. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the follows. And more than anything else, we appreciate you telling your friends if you like the show. Hey, why don't you check out WagerTalk today? Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games. And best of luck with all your bets. We'll see you guys on Monday.